Hello, everybody. Darrell Owens, LegacyMaker Sports Network, and we are back for one-on-one. And today, on episode 10, I got my man, Mr. Michael Bish of Netflix Life, and of course, formerly of Fox Sports. He's a journalist for Fox Sports. Mike, I'm so glad to have you on, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Doing as best as I can. I'll tell you what, man. I've been looking forward to coming on this one-on-one. I was like, man, seeing Darrell doing what he's doing with these one-on-ones and what everybody's doing at LegacyMaker, man, it's truly incredible what y'all are doing, and I'm just excited to be here.
Look, man, we're glad to have you. And I know I've told the story 6 trillion times, but I'll tell it one more time for those who don't know. You know, I'll never forget it. October 28th, 2016. I get a phone call from my man. Well, it was a couple days before, but I get a phone call from my man, Mike. He's like, hey, man, Cody Stewart, who's now on the network with us. He's like, man, Cody can't do it. I need you. I said, bro, so you don't know how excited I was that day where I sat there for 3 days and I studied my butt off to be ready for Mike's show, the MC Sports Report. I was like, I'm going to do my best. And just being on there with Mike, man, Mike showed me the way, gave me a lot of advice, showed me some things on how to set up a podcast and said, Darrell, you'd be surprised, man. And he gave me the bug. I mean, I've always wanted to do it, but he gave me the bug and the jump start to help, create what is you've seen the last couple of years. So always grateful, brother. And
you're
truly appreciative. Hey, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Well, let's get this thing started, man. It's one-on-one. Let's talk a little bit about how's your life been going since the beginning of COVID. I mean, COVID has obviously the pandemic, everything. It's been a lot going on in these last 3 months from COVID to George Floyd to protests to riots to, I mean, you name it, it's happened. We've seen people, we've lost a lot of big time people in this world, and it's just been crazy 6 months to start 2020. But how have you handled the pandemic? How have things been going for you?
I've handled it, as best as I can, man. I'm thankfully still employed, still working full time. So thankful for that. I know there's people out there that, aren't that lucky as I am. So obviously grateful for that and grateful for my health. I've been, wearing my mask, doing everything that I can to stay healthy and continue to stay healthy. But, with COVID-19, man, I think I don't know if this, where things are going to go with this, if there's going to be a second wave or how long it's going to be around, if there'll be an antibiotic or, anything like that. I think it's just a new way of living life that everybody needs to get used to and adjusted to. And that's really all that I've been doing, man. I've just been staying healthy and doing my part and making sure the people around me stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a wild time. I mean, I think we all can we can all attest to that. And you're right, man. Just trying to stay healthy, trying to keep yourself going and trying to be safe. I'm going to tell you one thing I can't wait to happen. The mask. Bruh, if I have to keep wearing a mask, I'm going to have to burn. I mean, it is driving me insane. I mean, some people just don't even care. Like, man, bump that mask. But, at my, other occupation, I have to wear the mask. And it is a drag.
Same here, and it sucks, man, because when I first started wearing it, it really messed with my beard.
Yes,
and under my beard. And I remember when the barbershop reopened and I went back for the first time, I'm like, I got to get my beard cut a little lower this time. And unfortunately, that did not help. The mask is still bothering me to the fullest. So, yeah, man, if we can get to a point where we can ditch those masks, that'll be great.
I think that's probably bothering me more than anything. And it's the same thing. It's the beard. Like, I think what happens as soon as I put the mask on, this happens. The beard pushes up. I got mustache hair in my lip, and the whole time I'm always trying to get everything out. It's the worst thing ever, bro. And
the worst, man.
I think the other thing that makes it bad is that I got allergies. So with the mask on, I feel like my nose starts running. I'm like, my nose is stuffed up. I'm like, what is this? I said, I might as well just have the bad boy off. But gotta be safe, be safe, all that good stuff.
You gotta follow the protocols, man.
Dang. Hey, ain't trying to get beat up out here. No, Mike.
I was actually in Sheets the other day. I had my mask on, following the right protocols, and I was standing in line, and I thought I was far enough from the person in front of me, and she turned around and she was like, "Can you back up, please?" I No argument, no
No,
nothing.
bro.
It kind of shocked me. But I was like, yeah, I'll back up.
Yes, ma'am. You got it. Ball out. I apologize.
Well, I
I'll never
did.
do it again.
But I did. So
It's
yeah,
wild, man. It's definitely been a wild time, but it's funny watching people kind of like try to be conscious about it, like, oh, I'm sorry, or they're trying to move to the side and they're trying to be safe. And at least you care about some people. Some people don't care. They just come up to you and be like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, whoa, bro, okay, take a step back. But nevertheless,
never look at a doorknob the same again.
right? You're like, everybody's got like hand center, like.
Yep. And obviously you can see I'm bad about touching my face, but
yeah, but it's hard. I mean, you know how many times you touch your face or your hands touch your mouth, in your lifetime, you never really realized you did it. Now, every time you're like,
oh man, yeah, I know.
You got to take a second guess. You're like, I don't know what I just did. So
Yeah,
it's wild, man.
And everything else going on too, with everything in Richmond and throughout the country. It's I don't know if you were going to touch on that, but I wanted to touch on that.
No, most definitely.
Obviously, it's a tough time, and obviously it sucks. It took this long, and the death of George Floyd and many other African Americans for us to get to this point. But I think we're witnessing history right now.
Yeah.
Throughout this country, I think there hasn't. I know in my lifetime and probably in your lifetime, I feel like so many eyes and ears are open right now. Not only obviously throughout the country, but throughout the world. You see all the protests going on overseas and things like that. And I think this is a very pivotal time for us. I think so many white ears and eyes are open for the first time. And like I said, it's unfortunate that it's taken this long to get here, but it's good that we are here. And I think our voice is very powerful. Our actions are very powerful. And I think if we can continue to move in the right direction of using our voice and not letting people push us aside, and and when I say us, people who are fighting for equal rights and standing up for equal rights for the African American community. Times have changed, and people need to listen. I mean, it's simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really good thing to see, to a point, to see like people, like I talked about this in episode 9 with Raphael. It's nice to finally see people that's above starting to say, okay, we get it now. I mean, it's terrible that it took that long to get it. I think the only thing that makes me a little bit weary is I don't want things handed to us. I want people to at least look and say, hey man, your merits, everything you've done, you worked hard, you did this. I want that to continue to happen. I get a little nervous sometimes. I think, I don't want to see like, hand-me-downs, or we're going to do this to try to make you feel better and try to make you forget about things. I want, for people, that are, up there to say, hey, I'm looking at it, this person is this person is that, and
you want to be treated equally.
I want to be treated equally.
That's what you want. That's what the African community wants. And like I said, I've said in posts that I've made on Instagram and Facebook, I'll never know what it's like to be Black in America. And I recognize that I have a privilege as a white man. And with that privilege, I plan on using my voice and speaking out and doing everything that I can to help my brothers and my sisters and my friends and my people that I consider family of the African American community to make sure that they get these equal rights that they so desperately deserved over hundreds of years.
Well, I feel like we're getting closer, and I'm just going to I like what I've been seeing for the most part. And seeing the people out there, doing their thing and trying to make positive change. And as long as we keep making the positive change, I think we can get to where we need to be, as a country. Now, Mike, let's talk a little bit about Netflix Life. You started up in Netflix Life, man. I mean, you've had some phenomenal articles out. Tell us, how'd you get into Netflix Life, and what made you, make that leap into the world of writing about movies and shows and stuff like that?
Yeah. So obviously, as you stated, I was with Fox Sports for a few years, and obviously I enjoyed that. I love sports, and nothing ever changed. And as you know, my favorite show on Netflix, and pretty much is Stranger Things, and that's something that I've been really addicted to. You know, you have your fans, you have your Marvel fans, and you have your Harry Potter fans. Well, I'm part of the Stranger Things fans, and I love 80s movies, and the fact that that show, you know, was in the 80s or is based in the 80s, and you know, I just captivated to it, and it drew me to that show and into that show, and I was like, man, I would love to write about this. So I would say for the first 6 months, I applied to Netflix Life 3 times and got denied all 3 times. And I was like, I'm gonna try one more time. And of course, on that last try, you know, the editor hit me back, and he was like, you know, I see you've been persistent with applying, and this is something you really want. You know, I need you to come up with a 1,200 word piece, 1,200 word article on anything you want. Obviously dealing with movies or TV, and send it to me, and then, you know, my team will review it. And so I did that, and they reviewed it, and, you know, I got in starting right at the beginning of the year, like beginning of February, I got in, and like February 15th, I think, is when I started. So I had half the month left, and I remember as soon as I got in, man, I just I ran with it. The Aaron Hernandez documentary was, all I did was write, you know, let people know that it was coming out. Make sure you remember it's coming out. And
right.
I think that right there had over 200,000 views just on that article alone. And my first 15 days with Netflix Life, you know, I had over, I want to say right around 300,000 views, and the editors were just blown away. But obviously I couldn't do that without people sharing my work and reading my work. So without the readers and the fans of Netflix and my friends and family sharing my work, I never would have got there, never would have got those views. And when you see those views come through, and, you know, my first month there, like I said, the numbers that I produced, and, you know, I won Writer of the Month for that month, and I was only there for 15 days. So that was very rewarding. And obviously when you see that, it makes you just want to, you know, strive to do better and to do more, write better, and, you know, give the people what they want. And I think that that's what I'm trying to do. I haven't been able to reach those numbers again yet. But I have come very close to those numbers, and it's just something I enjoy, man. I enjoy sitting back and putting my thoughts on paper, or on the computer, and seeing the reactions from people, online, whether they agree with me or not. I just love to see people reacting to my work and know that it's appreciated in one way or another.
I think that goes a long way on that. I think a lot of people don't realize how important it is. You know, in the field of what we try to do on either end is that when you see people appreciating, even if they were acting bad to it, you know, you said something enough to where people want to respond to it. You've hit a nerve, or you found a way to kind of get them to embrace what you're trying to say. And that's always what you want, especially in the media field. And if you can get it just a little bit, you're like, all right, I've done my job.
I was on a high horse. I'm not gonna lie, for a couple of months, and then, you know, I've been brought down back to reality. But I'm still writing like crazy, and, you know, things are kind of slow right now because obviously COVID-19 production on pretty much every TV show and movie has been put to a halt.
Right.
So things have been kind of slow over at Netflix Life, but there have been some pretty good shows that dropped over the past few months. So things are steady, but I wish things were back to normal, obviously.
Yeah, it'll definitely get there. You know, I brought it up in the last couple, but, you know, the Tiger King, stuff like that. Yeah. It's been a wild time. I mean, and I mean, Netflix is always, you know, for me, I think everybody, if you haven't peaked at Netflix or doesn't have Netflix in some form or fashion, that's where it is right there. So, you know, for me.
Something else I like about us and our website is we also, you know, we write about Disney Plus, Hulu. We also write about all of those things, and just things in the TV and movie world going on, period. So the platform is pretty big. But like I said, I'm just glad to be where I am, and it's super fun, and I really enjoy it.
Now, of course, you know, we talked a little bit about you being with Fox. And so your journalism blood, you know, does travel over to the sports world, you know, and when you were in, you know, when you were at Fox and you had those, you know, moments, what was your greatest sports journalism moment? That moment that made you just like, man, I'm here. Like I did it. this is pretty special to me. What was that moment that when you first realized that, man, the journalism is in general is just good for me?
Well, I've been grateful and blessed to cover many sporting events when I was with Fox. But I think the first time where I really sat back and was like, wow, was Fox sent me up to D.C. to cover a Capitals game for the first time. And, it was my first time covering a sporting event, an actual game.
Right.
And I was just super shocked, super surprised how it worked. I didn't know how anything worked, so I got there super early. As soon as the doors were were open to the media, I went in and, I was the first one there. It was an empty, I'm in a Capitals game, a sold out Capitals game. And I'm the only person other than people cleaning the ice and, that are down right there. And it's just like, man, I'm here. And then obviously after the game, I got to go down to the locker room and, sitting there interviewing and Alex Ovechkin, TJ Oshie. I mean, that's just surreal in itself. I'm sitting right, face to face with one of the greatest hockey players to ever play, the best hockey player, in my opinion, that I've seen play. And obviously a year after I left Fox, they won the Stanley Cup. And they've been a strong team for years. So, I remember the lunch that me and you went to with the Capitals players.
That was a lot of fun.
Man, I would say that, man. My would be the Washington Capitals game that I covered, and just being able to talk to TJ Oshie and Alex Ovechkin. That was like a really surreal moment for me.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely remember that lunch. We had a good time. We're still upset I left my hockey puck up there. They were supposed to send it to me. I'm still waiting on it. It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years waiting on my puck. But no, it was definitely a great lunch. And it was a lot of fun. It was good to be inside there watching the players go. That was my first ice hockey experience, period. So that was definitely an amazing time. But while we're on the topic of ice hockey, real quick, what about your Flyers? I mean, you're a big Flyers fan, and what are your thoughts on the Flyers right now? Especially with this 2014 playoff thing happening.
I'm excited. I am. I'm nervous though. I'm nervous for all my sports teams this year, just because of the COVID-19. But specifically when we're talking about the Flyers, they were on such a roll. Going into the playoffs. And obviously, when teams are hot, you want them to stay hot. And most of the time for them to stay hot, they got to play. And they haven't been able to play for a few months now. And, so I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm nervous. We have a first round bye, so I'm excited about that. And man, there's nothing like playoff hockey. It's not my favorite sport. I love hockey. I really do. Right. It's not my favorite sport to watch if I'm ranking them. But it's my favorite event. It's my favorite live sporting event to go to, man. The energy is crazy, and there's nothing like playoff hockey. If you can get a Game 7 in NHL playoff hockey, man, there's nothing like it. But I'm excited, nervous, but excited.
Yeah, my Avalanches. I think if the playoffs started and they didn't do the round robin, I think my Avalanche, they also have a bye. They are the 2 seed right now. I mean, until they do all the maneuvering around or whatever. But I'm glad they're in. They're a low-key favorite. They're one of the shockers over there. I'm not going to I refuse to get my hopes up. I mean, we haven't won since 2001. And, I became an Avalanche fan back in 94 when they were the Quebec Nordiques. All because of NHL 94. It's the only team I played with on NHL 94. Nobody else. Just the Quebec Nordiques.
I was a year old in 94.
Seriously? Oh, man. I done told my age. Oh, I was 10, so we know where we are. I was 10.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited to get sports back, and we know we're getting hockey back. NBA is up in the air still, I believe.
Right.
They have plans. MLB is up in the air. I saw today that they have a proposal, and the players just got to agree to it. So looks like we may be getting baseball back too, man. I just want to get back to some normal. I mean, it's so weird not having sports around. Like it's I can't even put it into words right now. Like my knees are shaking right now because I miss live action sports so much. I mean, the Jordan documentary helped, obviously. But man.
Even NASCAR is giving a little bit of a bump. You know, for those who are not been, I mean, I watched NASCAR since I was a kid, but even NASCAR is giving us a little bit of a bump right now. So it's in the forefront, and they've been making a lot of headlines all the way through. So it's just been nice to get something back.
NASCAR's helped me. My guy is Chase Elliott, so he's been able to get a win. And then of course he's dropped a couple, finishing in second place. Or I mean, I know there was one race that I was watching, I can't remember where it was. He decided to pit and didn't really work out. So, but yeah, I mean, NASCAR has worked. You know, it's kept me above water, I should say.
Right.
But you know, just thinking about where we should be right now with the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs, it's kind of depressing. But it's good to know there seem to be plans to get everything going back, and NHL we know is coming back. So
please. Well, let's talk. We talked about majority of teams, but we got to talk about the team that I know is nearest and dearest to your heart, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this Philadelphia Eagles team last year, they had their ups, they had their downs. But give us a recap in your mind of that 2019-2020 Eagles team. What were your thoughts on that team?
Injuries. And I'm really not somebody who likes to use the injury excuse, and I'm not really going to here because we were able to make the playoffs. Last year was a big year for me when it came to Carson Wentz. I'm a big supporter of Carson Wentz. I think he's a good quarterback, but I'd be lying if I'd say I'm not nervous or wasn't nervous about his injury history. Obviously, he made it through a full regular season, but got concussed in the first few minutes of that playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks. So to see him get hurt is very frustrating. I think the Eagles would have beat the Seahawks in that game. They almost beat them with Josh McCown.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and Josh McCown ended up having a torn hamstring that he played through, which is absolutely crazy, especially at his age. But it was a big year for me for Carson Wentz. I think to see what Carson did and Doug Peterson did, and really that offense did with their three wide receivers were down. I mean, they were working with practice squad players at receiver, and Miles Sanders stepped up big time, the rookie out of Penn State. But to see Carson win pretty much 4 straight games to get into the playoffs, obviously that big game against the Dallas Cowboys for the division, it was huge. And despite it being the Redskins and the Giants that he did have to face, and those games were close. But to see him in the 2-minute offense and being able to lead his team with the product that was on the field to a win, he was very clutch last year, and he was very productive in my opinion. I think he was the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 4,000 plus yards and not have a receiver over 400 or 500 yards,
right?
Which is absolutely crazy to me. But yeah, I mean, I think last year it was kind of a disappointment because of the injuries, but I think the biggest disappointment was Carson Wentz going down in that playoff game, because I think he would have got his first playoff win. So yeah,
I feel really bad for Carson, because I felt like the biggest thing that he's heard in his ear the last 2 years of injuries, and no matter, he's got a ring, yes, but you'll always hear that Nick Foles will always get the credit for that championship, despite how well Carson played leading up into the playoffs before he was MVP candidate. If not, maybe the MVP, he was in top 2 in that race leading up to that. So I always felt bad for him for that. I want to see him do well. But then the Eagles go and get Jalen Hurd in the second round of the draft. A lot of people are like, uh-oh. Now, as a fellow person, as a fellow person who has to deal with a first-round quarterback being selected, and then your star quarterback is being, put on notice, at least by fans and sports commentators and all that stuff. Yeah. It does give you a little bit of like, all right, well, where are we going here? So for the Packers, I think it makes more sense for the Packers. It reminds me of the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre situation. It really does. I still think Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, and I think he has a few years left in him playing at a top level. And with the way
the rules are now when it comes to the quarterback, he may be able to extend, his longevity in the NFL. So I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play bad. So I don't think you're going to see any heat from the backup quarterback. I think it's going to be whenever Aaron Rodgers' time to go, you're going to have that backup quarterback to step up. And so it makes more sense because of Aaron Rodgers' age, what the Packers did. For the Eagles, not so much, man. I mean, I unless they have true injury concern history with Carson Wentz, which is granted. Jalen Hurts, I've always liked Jalen Hurts. So when the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts, I was like, you're putting me against my well wishes. I mean, obviously, I think if you put him in a quarterback competition, I think Carson Wentz wins that competition easily. Right. I think Jalen Hurts is not a very accurate quarterback, a very good throwing quarterback, but he can develop into one. I think the good thing about Jalen Hurts is he's always been a leader. He's always, with everything that he went through in Alabama, he always did the right thing. And he went to Oklahoma and had a great season with the Sooners. So I think he's a great player, and I think he's a good quarterback. I just think that with the Eagles' needs and what they needed, I didn't really agree with what they did. And even the first round pick, I wasn't high on Jalen Reagor, and hopefully I'm wrong on that. But as far as Jalen Hurts, I don't understand that too much. I thought there was too many needs, especially at the linebacker position, that the Eagles could have went out and got.
Yeah, for me, it was just like I think we almost kind of had the same needs. I think both teams probably could have used a backup quarterback, which we now have. When you look at hindsight, we both needed receivers. We didn't even think about getting a receiver. We just said we're going to do everything else. I'm whatever. And then linebacker was also a need. So I think I'm trying to stay humble and just say, okay, maybe these guys know what they're doing. We'll see. We'll see when the season starts. We'll see when the season starts to see if we get our season. Hopefully we'll see I know, right? Hopefully we'll get to see everything that comes in fruition from there. Now, ladies and gentlemen,
they got a lot of stuff they got to figure out with
right, exactly. So hopefully they get it together. We're just hoping that we'll be able to be at games so we can bring you coverage. So fingers crossed, you name it. Fingers crossed, ass crossed, whatever. Knees crossed, ankles crossed.
Hey man, I'll tell you what. While we're on that, pictures you take at those Redskins games, man, those are amazing shots. You do a great job at that, man.
Oh man, I tell you what, a lot of practice, a lot of help from people in the industry. My wife is a photographer. Yeah, I'm trying, man. Hey, I tell you what, some of the best pictures I took probably were in the Eagles game last year.
I was just about to say that.
I think the Eagles game had some decent one, really good Lions game. The Eagles and the Patriots game for me was probably the best two games that I took pictures at last year. Perfect weather, perfect settings. New England was probably the best overall. But I felt like my Eagles pictures last year were really, but the last 2 years, because even the year before when Nelson Aguilar did the wave goodbye, which is still one of my favorite pictures I've taken. He, after, all the Eagles fans are in, he's waving goodbye to the Redskin fans. I still think that's one of my favorite pictures. And I have that as well. Unless probably one of my top 10, because he's just and he scored 2 touchdowns in that game. He was, when he was on his, high. So I appreciate that, brother, because that's something that I've worked hard at, and I'm trying to get better at as we go.
Well, great job.
All right, everybody. Now it is time for my favorite segment of the show. It's time for Quick Ones. Yes. All right, Mike. Oh yeah, Mike. Are you ready for the Mike Bish edition of Quick Ones?
I think so. We'll see.
You feel pretty confident? Okay. All right. Let's see how we do this. All right, everybody. First one, Quick Ones. Mike, are you ready?
Let's get it.
All right, here we go. First one, top 3 Netflix movies / shows.
All right, I'll do shows. Stranger Things, Lock and Key. Man.
Yeah.
I know I'm missing something too that I'm going to be like, man. So Stranger Things, Lock and Key, and then I'll go. God, I'm missing something. I know I am.
It's gonna bother you. I know.
I'll just say, I'll say You. but I know that's wrong. So
You know it's wrong, but that's the first one that came to your mind.
I'm missing something big, and I'm going to be mad at myself.
You're going to be mad at yourself later. You'll be watching this, and you'll be like,
Now, I know it's not. I know it's not.
Now, I've never had it. I've seen some of the previews for Lock and Key, but that's something I definitely want to get into. So I'm going to have to definitely jump on that soon. And it looks like it can be really good, and I'm going to have to jump on that.
See, it took me a while to jump on it because I didn't like the previews. Right. And then when I watched it, I was like, wow. Okay, yeah. Okay, that might be enough for me. That might sway me. It's good.
That might sway me. All right, next one. Number 2. Greatest sports moment.
Oh, let's go back. I got one. It's a mini series. Sorry.
Oh, you got one. Okay, what you got?
So it's a mini series. It's When They See Us.
Okay. So When They See Us.
Yeah, I don't know if you know what that is, but it's it's about the Central Park 5, where the 5 African Americans got it. It's a mini series. So,
yes, I have seen that. I have seen that.
Sad. Okay. It's sad, but it's worth watching.
Actually, yeah, I did see that. I forgot what the title was, but I did watch it. It was heartbreaking. It was definitely heartbreaking. It makes you, really. It's just another thing about what's going on now, and you say, okay, just. Yeah, I mean, that's what that is. But, all right, so number 2, greatest sports moment.
Super Bowl. Easy. Hands down. Appreciate you hosting that, by the way.
Oh, no problem. I said, I think when I was coming up West Side, I'm pretty sure that I was there for that greatest sports moment. That was a pretty good deal right there. I'm glad I was able to host. I'm glad I was able to host you for that moment. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, it was wow. What a night! What a stressful night.
Yeah, you had me worried, man. You were sweating that last 5 minutes. Actually, probably the last quarter. That last quarter, you had your head down like this for at least.
I did.
Yeah, you had your head down for like the whole 15 minutes. You popped up every now and then, was like, okay, and then you went back down.
Oh man.
Number 3, worst sports moment.
Worst sports moment. It's gonna be with the Eagles again, losing the Super Bowl to the New England Patriots in 2004. I was a kid. I cried then too. I was super depressed. Right. But yeah, it would be that for sure.
So the Eagles are involved in one of my worst sports moments. I got my top 2. Probably involve the Packers, and one is the 2015 NFC Championship game. I know I talked about it on other shows, but I get upset every time I think about it. And then I would say 4th and 26. No matter how old I get, we were 4th and 26 will bother me forever because we had an opportunity. It was 4th and 1, and we should have went for it. And we were in field position, and we decided not to. We decided to punt. We get the Eagles in the spot. I'm like, we got him. We just got to stop him. It's 4th and 26. Now, Freddie Mitchell. I just want to thank my hands. I can hear it. I can hear it in my head.
Yeah, and I think another one for me would be when Brian Dawkins left the Eagles. The Eagles just let him walk. Man, it's my favorite player of all time. So that was super upsetting. And then if you want to throw Kobe's death in there,
yeah.
You can throw that in there. I mean, I don't know. I know you said sports moment, but that was very tough for me.
I think I'm still kind of shocked over that. I mean, it doesn't even feel real. It's been 6 months, almost 6 months.
I was at lunch with my aunt from North Carolina. She was up, and I just remember I couldn't eat. I couldn't finish my food. I started to tear up, and I'm like, and it's crazy because it's like, I loved Michael Jackson. I loved all these other, famous people that died. And,
right.
I was never really the biggest Kobe fan. I was always a LeBron guy. But the older I got and, Kobe was from Philly. And, I started to study him and his game more. And, and everything that he was doing after basketball, it's just crazy. That affected me pretty bad.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, I think same thing for me. I was at the Richmond women's basketball game, and I was doing coverage there for their game. And I remember as it happened, I just sat there and said to myself, wow. Like, I thought it was fake because, you would get all these notifications on the phone, and I'm like, that doesn't even sound right. So for me, I remember going at halftime, and and I kind of was doing my halftime spiel, and that's when it was officialized. So in the middle of my live, I found out that it had passed, and I, had a chance to, speak on it. But it was probably one of the toughest things I ever speak on, because it's unthinkable. Yeah, like Kobe Bryant, young guy, you like, okay, at least 60 plus. You think, okay, if that happens, that's down the road. You're not even thinking about that right now. So that was definitely a tough one.
And when things shock you like that out of the blue, you don't know how you're going to feel. And
no.
I was shocked with the way I reacted, man. Honestly, obviously it's such a sad story and tragedy. I didn't think it would affect me that much, but it did, man. It was terrible.
Yeah, it's still going to take me a while to kind of really get over the fact that it happened. Last one, man. Here on Quick Ones. Worst ice cream you've ever had?
Mint chocolate. Anything
mint chocolate.
The green ice cream. Yeah. The green mint. Nah, I don't do that.
I thought you were gonna say pistachio or something at first.
I had to go with the mint ice cream, man. I had to. I for some reason I don't like that peppermint flavor. That's weird. That Andes mint flavor. I just don't like it. Especially in ice cream.
My youngest daughter loves mint chocolate ice cream. I don't know where she get that from.
I had friends in high school that would come into math class and they would joke on me about it. They'll turn around and wrapper open, and I'm like, you want some? Made me sick.
No, bro, I'm solid. I don't want none of that nasty stuff.
That's what I said.
I don't want none of that.
That's what I said, man. That's what I said. So.
All right, everybody, that was Quick Ones. All right, Mike, man, look, I truly appreciate you coming on, and it has been like I told you, we talked a little bit before, and I truly appreciate everything you've done for me, my network, and getting us going in the field. And we'll always be truly appreciative. And I want to end this on a positive note. And so I got two more for you. And first of all, do you have any projects coming down the pipe that you want to talk about? Anything that we need to get excited for? Anything you got up your sleeve?
So obviously things are slow right now with like I mentioned before with COVID, as far as, production on shows and TV shows being shut down. So you can expect, breaking news to come out soon about some shows starting to pick up production and, slowly. Obviously safety is going to be first among the cast and crew. But things are going to pick up eventually. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And more interviews to come, man. I got a couple of good ones coming up down the line, not only with Stranger Things cast members, but, people of other TV shows and movies that are in the works. So definitely be on the lookout for that. NetflixLife.com, where you can check that out, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, let them know, Mike. Let them know where they can find you, baby. Now, Mike, when it's all said and done, man, you've been in the journalism field. You're one of the people like myself who kind of started from you started from a start from I guess the bottom here with all that fancy stuff, but you started from a spot and you've been able to climb up. Tell us, what type of legacy do you want to leave behind? I mean, when it comes to journalism, like what type of legacy when people say, man, Mike Bish, what do you want people to say about you?
Well, first off, I guess I should start by saying, goal-wise, man, I want to be able to become a better writer and perfect my craft as much as possible going forward. And so that's really what I'm working on. I want to get to a point where I'm such a good writer where maybe I can write a small book, or I can get on a major journalism place. Obviously Netflix is huge, but maybe like the New York Times or something like that. I like the movie. I like the whole movie and TV scene. So it'll take a lot for me to leave Netflix, but if I could maybe, go over to something as far as script writing or book writing. And I know that's totally different than what I do now. So that's why I say perfect my craft and become a better writer and progress in my work is something that I'm really working on. But as far as legacy wise, man, I just want I want people to just look back and be like, he was a great writer. He was a good writer. He was always a hard worker. And obviously, like I said, there's nothing more rewarding and, that once, pushes you to go harder and keep going and to perfect that craft and, then seeing people appreciate your work, whether negative or positive. As long as they're reacting to it, you're sparking some type of fuse in them. that makes them want to click on your work and share your work and read your work. I got a consistent following now, and that's something that I want to continue to grow and just continuing to grow, man, in all aspects of life, but especially when it comes to my writing is definitely a goal.
All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, my man, the myth. I call him a legend. I don't care. But he's like, you say it all the time. No, man, because I talk to great people, man. And I try every person that I bring on here are people that I admire. I'm not ashamed to say it just because I'm in this business. You know, I'm not, you know, there's people that I admire, people that have done great things in the industry and journalism and sports, whatever. You know, I'm here on 101. We're going to bring you people that I truly care about and truly admire, and people that I think that can really, you know, bring you good insight. And of course here, none other than my man, Michael Bish. Michael, I appreciate you, bro, for coming on episode 10 here on 101, man. I truly appreciate you, brother.
Listen, man, thank you for having me. I'll always be willing to come on and talk with you, man, to see you grow. And what you've done with the LegacyMaker Sports Network, man, is tremendous. Like, it's hard for me to even put into words to see where it is now, man, but you've worked your butt off, man, and you and everybody a part of that team deserve everything that you have and everything that you that's down the line that's coming, because things are getting better. Things are only going to get better for y'all, man. So keep grinding, man. You're doing your thing, man. I'm proud of you, man.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. You don't know how much those words mean to me, man. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. All right, everybody. That's my man, Mike Bish. This is episode 10 of 101. We got some special ones coming up here in the next couple of days. I'm not even going to tell you who's coming on. You'll see it when the time comes. I truly, truly appreciate you all. This is Darrell Owens, LegacyMaker Sports Network, episode 10 of 101, the Michael Bish edition. We'll see you guys next time.